When Claire booked the lake house for her husband's 40th birthday, she thought it would be a reset, a weekend away from the chaos of schedules, school drop-offs, and dry conversations over microwave dinners. The house was stunning, floor-to-ceiling windows, a fire pit, a private dock, and just secluded enough that no one had to pretend too hard. She invited 3 other couples, all friends they'd known for years, to spend 3 days there with them. A celebration. Something memorable. And it was. Friday evening started perfectly. Everyone arrived before sunset, and they drank wine on the deck as the sky shifted from orange to lavender. Claire was relaxed for the first time in weeks. Ryan, her husband, was laughing easily, holding her hand, playing host. There was music, too much cheese, and a ridiculous card game that ended with everyone shouting over each other. It felt like college again, or at least the version of it people like to remember. That night they stayed up late, the fire pit glowing, passing around a bottle of bourbon and stories they had told a dozen times but still laughed at. Claire went to bed warm with wine and sentiment, Ryan climbing into bed a few minutes later smelling like smoke and whiskey. Saturday morning, Claire woke early and took her coffee outside. The lake was still, and the air smelled like pine and old wood. She sat barefoot on the steps of the dock, her robe tied loosely, and thought, this was a good idea. She listened to birds and watched a canoe glide by in the distance. For a moment, everything felt still and hers. It was the kind of peace she hadn't felt in months. She could hear laughter in the house behind her as the others began to stir, a soft soundtrack to what she hoped would be the best day of the weekend. By mid-morning, the house had come alive. People moved in and out of the kitchen, barefoot and sleepy-eyed, swapping stories about the night before, assembling scrambled eggs and toast like it was some kind of communal dance. Someone turned on a playlist of old 2000s hits, and Tom tried to moonwalk on the hardwood floor to everyone's amusement. Claire was slicing fruit when she noticed Ryan wasn't around. No one had seen him since breakfast. It was odd, but she let it go. He was probably out for a walk or maybe sneaking a nap. He did that sometimes, wandered off without a word, and it never meant anything before. But by lunch, still no Ryan. A few guests casually asked, "Hey, where's the birthday boy?" And Claire just smiled, brushing it off with a comment about him probably hiding from cleanup duty. People laughed, but inside something pinched. The longer the silence stretched, the more her mind filled the void. She imagined twisted ankles, sudden headaches, secret phone calls. She didn't want to admit it, but she also imagined worse. Shadows of things she didn't have the courage to face. She checked her phone. No messages. She walked the perimeter of the property, called his name into the trees. The house wasn't that big. There weren't many places to disappear to. She peeked into the guest rooms, the bathroom, even behind the garage where someone might have gone to take a call. Nothing. The sun had started to rise higher, casting harsh light through the trees. Then, almost by accident, she opened the storage room next to the garage, a place no one had touched since they arrived. It still smelled faintly of gasoline and old tarps. There were beach chairs stacked in the corner, a deflated inner tube, a broken fan. It was dim and musty, lit only by a slit of daylight from a grimy window, and there he was. Not alone. Ryan was with Jenna, their friend. Jenna, who was married to Claire's college roommate, Tom. Ryan and Jenna were on the floor, half-dressed, tangled in a blanket, like teenagers trying to hide from consequences that wouldn't wait. Claire could see Ryan's shirt balled up under his head like a pillow. Jenna's bra dangled from the handle of a cooler. Claire froze. He looked up. Jenna scrambled, whispering something Claire didn't care to decipher. Claire didn't scream. She just stared. The stillness between them all was louder than a slap. Her fingers curled into fists at her sides, but her voice never rose. The moment felt suspended, too real to process. No one said anything for a full 5 seconds. Then Claire closed the door, calmly, like someone closing a window after realizing the weather had turned. Her heart was pounding in her ears, but her hands didn't shake. She didn't storm or demand answers. The shock was too smooth, too round. It settled into her chest like a cold stone. She didn't cry. Not then. She walked back into the kitchen and continued chopping fruit. She even made a fresh batch of coffee. She nodded along to a story about someone's horrible work commute. Even laughed at a joke someone made about camping toilets. No one noticed anything different. But she felt her face stretch in a way it hadn't in years, into a mask. By the time Ryan reappeared an hour later, the house was full of noise again. Someone was playing music. Someone else was laying out sandwich fixings. Claire made eye contact. 1 sharp second. He looked down. Jenna stayed in her room until dinner. Tom asked where she was. Claire said she wasn't feeling well. That part, at least, was true. That evening, Claire made a toast. She raised her glass and thanked everyone for coming, for making the weekend special. She smiled, told a story about Ryan that made everyone laugh. She never mentioned the storage room. She even poured Jenna a glass of wine when she finally slinked out, pretending the sunburn on her chest was the only discomfort in the room. The group clinked glasses, and someone passed around a tray of mini cupcakes. It was surreal. The room shimmered with a strange duality. Celebration on the surface, betrayal just beneath. Claire waited. On Sunday, she packed early. Drove the kids home before anyone else was awake. Left Ryan there to make his own way back. She didn't slam the door. Didn't leave a note. Just left. Quietly. She drove in silence, letting the wind from the open window fill the car. Thinking about what she'd say, if anything. The kids dozed in the back seat. Claire focused on the road ahead. A week later, Jenna confessed to Tom. Claire didn't have to say a word. The ripple was already spreading. Friends stopped answering messages. Group chats fell silent. Plans unraveled quietly. One couple canceled a planned New Year's trip. Another unfollowed Jenna on social media. A third reached out to Claire with a vague but heavy message. "We heard something. Are you okay?" The group fractured after that. Friendships dissolved. Vacations were quietly canceled. No one blamed Claire. Some even dropped Jenna from their contacts completely, like she'd become radioactive. Claire received a quiet stream of texts. "I'm so sorry. We're here for you. You didn't deserve that." But she replied to almost none. She didn't need pity. She needed clarity. Claire never publicly reacted. She didn't write a long social media post or confront anyone. She just started doing her own thing. Dinner with the kids, weekend hikes, wine with her sister. She enrolled in a pottery class, bought new sheets, rearranged the living room. She changed the password to the shared Netflix account. She let herself sleep diagonally across the bed. Eventually, she got her own place. Small, but with big windows and hardwood floors that caught the light. She bought furniture secondhand and learned to enjoy assembling it herself. She painted one of the bedroom walls green. Not a soft green, but bold. She started lighting candles again, cooking for one. It wasn't lonely, it was hers. When people asked why she didn't scream or throw him out that night, she would say, "Because silence travels further." And it did. Everyone heard it, even the ones who pretended they hadn't, especially them. Thank you for listening. Until the next heartbeat in a story. Subscribe and stay for more love in every word.